Hello and welcome to the Kuribros, a Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime recap podcast. I'm your host, and I am not a man. I am an animal. I'm Phoenix. Joining me, my co-host, presenting for the defendant, it's Andy. How you doing, Andy?
Your Honor, he's guilty. Death sentence. The defending lawyer doesn't usually hand out sentencing. Well, I am. He's already dead.
Depending on which court system it is, they do things wildly differently. Because I know, like the Ace Attorney games, like you've seen things of them.
Yeah, a little bit.
That guy is like pointing objection.
Yep, objection. Yeah, I've watched a couple of videos on the playthroughs.
So apparently, from what I've heard, I may be entirely wrong on this, but I believe that the court systems in Japan work on a guilty until proven innocent basis, as opposed to America's supposed innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah, I've heard some things about that too, and I've also learned about that kind of in the Culling Game arc in Jujutsu Kaisen, because one of the characters of that is a lawyer, and I think he snaps because he is a defense lawyer who usually can't get people not guilty.
Yeah.
So the justice system there is very fucked and very strict. Or I don't know how I don't know the full thing of it, but I do know it is very strict, I should say.
Not to say that America is really doing so hot on the Justice Department.
No, I wouldn't say ours is much better. I just would say ours is a lot fuckier in a lot of other fucked ways.
Nice prison pipeline. Did your dad make it for you?
Oh my god, we're talking about prison on the Yu-Gi-Oh podcast.
I mean, we're going to talk about prison in 5Ds.
Oh yeah, I guess they do go to prison in 5. We're gonna just have like a whole prison.
Yeah, they go to prison in 5Ds. They go to prison in Arc 5. I don't think they go to prison in Vrains.
What about, you know what? I think we're in our own prison, to be honest with you.
I'm in a glass case of emotions.
Now, let me tell you something. The gang's in prison right now, but they're in prison in their minds.
Ironically, they're in prison in their minds on the way to Alcatraz, a prison.
I know. What a weird name drop. Alcatraz. But I guess it kind of makes sense with the whole, Gozaburo Kaiba being, a weapons dealer and shit like that. So I guess he would be in the type to be in the prison business, especially because it is noticeably profitable.
Yeah?
Head scratch. Head scratch.
Loosen tie nervously.
You know, Kaiba's the rival, was the antagonist for a little bit. I think Kaiba's right in a lot of ways, not all the ways, but
yeah, we do get some more Kaiba lore drops in these episodes.
That's very true. But before we start talking about those episodes, what did we do last time?
Last time we were kicking off the Noah arc with everyone. I say everyone. Most people on the battleship being ocean abducted by a bigger boat, and then they were sucked into a virtual world where they're forced to contend with the Big Five, the guys from another filler arc, and the Big Five want to beat them in duels so they can take their bodies and go back to the real world, and we don't know what Noah wants yet, but we'll find out soonish.
Do you think they kind of thought ahead to what they do if they actually would have won and got the bodies?
I can tell you that the person who I'm covering in my duels had his plan laid out for what he wanted to do.
I don't remember if they really had anything for my stuff. They don't really go more in depth with people. They just kind of do a lot of one-liners and jokes related to what they do for my villains.
Yeah, another thing of note about the people in this one, they actually named the Big Five members that we see in these episodes. I still don't think they named the guy who was Deep Sea Warrior.
God damn, fuck that guy, I guess.
Yeah.
Wait, who's it? Who's Crump in this?
His name is Otaki.
Otaki? Is Johnson Johnson?
Johnson is Uzu.
Utaki and Uzu. Interesting.
Yeah, where did I write that one down at? Oh, no, not Uzu, Uka.
Uka, okay. Interesting. Well,
they said their
fuck
names,
Gansey,
but I'm just going to go by the names that they were referred to.
Oh, well, it is what it is. But, you know what? I'll say this. We were having kind of a rough time with the episodes last week. A lot of jumping and a lot of the things we usually complain about with filler and or pacing in some points of the anime. I gotta say, I actually enjoyed the Taya part of this that we're going to be covering.
I also enjoyed these ones a lot more than the ones we did last time. Which I guess we had growing pains from new arc syndrome.
True. It's like we're not already in the middle of the arc. They're kind of only doing this filler arc so you can kind of like extend everything out and like make more stuff. But like it does fall into the whole like it's so unfocused. It doesn't know what it wants to do really yet. This one was a lot better. Joey's part of the episodes we're covering was a little more like, oh my god, kind of jumpy, but not as bad. The second episode was a lot better. But I actually really, really enjoyed this Taya duel more than I really thought I would. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. And thank God I got to cover that one because it was neat.
Yeah.
And also there's some bullshit I get to talk about.
Oh my god. There is the worst kind of bullshit that I really want to talk about in this one. I don't know if it's the same exact bullshit we're going to refer to, but the ending of this, for me, it's the ending. Is that what you're talking about? Or are you just talking about like throughout the whole thing?
I was not talking about the ending or even the whole thing throughout, but the setup is so goddamn weird.
Yeah. Maybe it's a little different in yours than mine. All right, I'm actually really okay. So I'm excited. This is the one thing I'm actually looking forward to. I'm excited to get into what the differences are because I feel like it's gonna be so stupid.
I remember watching this and I was taking my notes and I was thinking this is a fan fiction. This is someone's Yu-Gi-Oh fan fiction. This is not real. This ignores canon. This is dumb. I hate this. I'm on fanfiction.net. It is 2003. I've been given X amount of hours with the family computer, and I'm wasting it here.
Oh, no.
I could have been on Neopets.
You could have been. You could have been,
on
but you
Club
know what?
Penguin.
Ooh. Could have been on RuneScape.
Ooh. I never much cared for RuneScape.
Didn't we play it a lot as kids, though?
I know I started it a bunch of times, but I never committed to anything.
I feel like we played it sometimes at your house, but I don't remember. Played a lot of things at your house.
Yeah.
Shadow the Hedgehog, which is probably coming out soon when this episode comes out. Like at least the movie and that new...
I hope they let Shadow say fuck.
I hope they let Shadow say fuck too, especially because Keanu Reeves is in it.
Yeah.
Super fun. All right. Let's get into it because we're covering the Taya versus Crump and the Joey versus Johnson, who is one's a penguin and the other's a judge guy. Well, he's a lawyer, but he wants to be a judge guy because he's Judge Man. That's his deck master. Spoilers.
Episode 102. The episode opens with Taya hanging from the bridge that had collapsed last episode when she is being chased by the Hutatsume giants. We then cut to Little Yugi, who is running in a hallway, and he reminds us of the plot of this arc, which we already covered.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about it.
We then cut to Noah in his gamer chair watching Yugi, and he tippy-taps on some keys, which teleports Yugi from one endless hallway to another nondescript endless hallway. A voice calls out to Noah, and Noah refers to the new person as Otaki, which is how we get his name, and Otaki asks to be allowed to challenge the next person. And Noah says, go ahead, take on whoever you want, as long as it's not Kaiba. And Otaki says, oh, I've already decided, and the camera focuses on Taya, so we know that it's her. Taya climbs up the bridge, over the ledge, and then promptly passes out.
Just like Yugi in the last episode.
Yeah. She then begins having a flashback to school where she'd asked Yugi about the Dark Magician Girl card. We get some made-up backstory about Taya having seen Dark Magician Girl Under the Moonlight, a musical, that she saw while studying abroad. The musical featured Dark Magician Girl, and for some reason in this flashback, Yugi and Yami are both in attendance watching the musical as well.
Yeah, yup.
It gets weirder because Taya's awoken by a penguin.
I was wondering what it was. I like wrote in my notes. I was like, a Broadway play about Dark Magician Girl. What is this stream about? Like, I was curious. It was something like super different.
I know that there are a bunch of different like games and stuff that do get stage plays or stage shows in Japan. So I wouldn't be too far out of the question to say that this is a thing. I have no idea what the plot would be.
Yeah, I don't know either. It would be really weird. I was kind of surprised that they're both the same thing. I legitimately thought they would be two different things and they had to had the four kids it.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Keeping the weird going, Taya woken by a penguin. The penguin then guides Taya to a raft with a bunch more penguins. And the raft then drifts through the river to an icy landscape with even more goddamn penguins just fucking everywhere. The penguins even have a castle. Oh, fuck, I'm remembering my notes right now as I'm reading this and
Yeah,
just
like-
thinking how crazy this is. So Taya enters the Penguin Monarchy domain and is met with the voice of Otaki, which tells her some information about herself, like her age, she's in high school, wants to study abroad, dance, that she saw a Dark Magician Girl on Broadway.
She has eaten 216 slices of pizza and has apparently dueled 5 times in her life.
He gave other information, like she has littered X amount of times, left lights on X amount of times, and left water running X amount of times. Which is how I'm going to bring in this fact that Otaki has a sort of environmentalist agenda side going along the way.
Oh yeah? No shit.
Yeah. Otaki now manifests, physically, as a little penguin man with a tuxedo jacket and top hat. He's a Batman villain.
I was gonna say that's a Batman villain joke waiting to happen.
He was the executive director of human resources for Kaiba Corp.
So HR.
And I'm going to skip some of the other stuff he talks about, but he does say the line, if you can't understand how penguins feel, you won't be able to touch people emotionally. Fucking what?
Huh? What does that mean? What does that mean?
It came about when him saying like, oh, well, you had left water running and power running and littered, which is bad for the environment, which is bad for penguins.
I mean, yes, but like, that's not.
Let's not try to make this make sense. They didn't.
You're not. Your end goal's not. I get the stepping stones you're trying to make here, but your end goal's not. The end line didn't hit. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Stick to HR.
Who would have thought HR would be corrupt?
Taya
tries to run away from the Penguin Man, but the world freezes over, and then the ice all shatters, and Taya is now standing on an ice pillar over a frozen sea. Otaki appears across from her on his own ice pillar, and a duel disc appears on Taya's arm. She does the whole deck selection thing for this half of the season's gimmick, and chooses Dark Magician Girl as her deckmaster. Otaki's deckmaster is himself the Nightmare Penguin. Yugi's doing some stuff I'll get to later. But he's doing it throughout here. I just kept my notes succinct for the sake of my own sanity.
Yeah, it kind of jumps back and forth. It doesn't do it like nauseum though, so it's like it's still balanced pretty okay, I will say.
The duel begins with Taya going first. She sets one card, summons Ancient Elf, and passes. Otaki summons Giant Red Sea Snake, which gets empowered by his deckmaster, the Nightmare Penguin. He then activates Cold Wave, which prevents Taya from activating her set cards for a turn, then attacks with his Sea Snake. Ancient Elf is destroyed, Taya is dealt some damage, and when the damage is dealt, ice forms around her legs, and Otaki explains that in this duel, as they take damage, their bodies will freeze. For some fucking reason, we need to add a stake to this. Taya then sets a monster in defense mode on her turn and passes. Otaki draws, sets 2 cards, and passes not attacking. Taya plays Mystical Space Typhoon, and Otaki responds by activating Driving Snow, which in response to his other set card being destroyed, lets him destroy the first card that Taya had set, which was Mirror Force. Taya then plays Offerings to the Doomed, which destroys the Sea Snake, and then she turns her face down Fire Sorcerer face up. She then uses the Sorcerer's effect, discarding 2 cards from her hand, dealing 800 damage, and then attacks with her Fire Sorcerer, and Otaki goes down to 2,200 life points. So Taya is winning.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun watching Taya duel, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Otaki is unfazed by the ice forming on his own body because he's a penguin. Taya asks why he's so fixated on penguins, and uh-oh, time for more backstory.
Oh no.
Otaki says that penguins saved his life when he was young. I am pausing to let that sentence sink in.
Isn't that the plot of the Danny DeVito Penguin and Batman with Michael Keaton?
I want to say he was raised by penguins or like circus folk penguins. It's been a while since I saw that one, but I'm going to say it's the same.
I remember he was like a monster child, and like the parents were like rich, and they're like, well, we can't keep this fucking thing, look at it.
Yeah.
And they throw it down a river.
And for some reason, the rivers in Gotham lead to the penguin exhibit.
Something like that. Or like there's penguins in the sewers. Or
Once again, let's not pretend we're going to make it make sense. They didn't try to have it make sense.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Now, I'm sure you're wondering, how did penguins save this man's life? His parents fought often when he was young, so to get out of the house, he went to the aquarium to watch the penguins. He dreamed of living with penguins someday and had asked Kaiba to make a penguin facility in Kaiba land. And Kaiba had said that when it comes to black and white animals, pandas are better.
Oh.
So that's why he said no.
I mean, pandas are pretty cool.
This is fucking stupid.
I don't see why Kaiba would have an opinion either way.
Right. Kaiba would say like, this should be a duel monster.
Kaiba would say it should be a blue eyes white dragon. Who fucking cares?
Otaki's plans to take Teia's body and build Penguin Land back in the real world.
What?
I'm pretty sure that's just like, which pole are the penguins at? The South Pole?
I'm not even gonna pretend to even say I know which one that is. You could tell me it's anywhere. How does he think he's gonna be able to do that in a high school girl's body?
I don't fucking know, man.
Like, she's 15 or 16. Like, she still has at least a couple years. So are you gonna, bide your time? And what are you gonna do?
Let's be real. Of all the things for a 55-year-old man to do in the body of a 16-year-old girl, make Penguin Land is far from the worst one.
Hands up. You're not wrong. It's gonna be a little creepy either way, though.
Yeah, I was expecting him to do a lot of creepy stuff about old man, teenage girl body. Fortunately, it only came up twice, and I omitted it from my notes, so there you go.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm sure the audience appreciates it, too.
Yeah, and really it's like 1.5. At one point he comments on Teia's clothing not being suited to cold weather and called it risque, which it's really not. And another time he just did a weird tongue thing with his face, which I didn't appreciate.
Oh no, that's when he did it? He just did it kind of like to be an evil guy. Or just like him being a little mocking. It wasn't anything gross. Oh, man. Oh.
Anyway, Otaki summons Flying Penguin, equips it with Penguin Sword, and then attacks the Fire Sorcerer, destroying it, putting Teia to 2250 life points. The episode ends here, but I'm sure you're asking, what was Yugi doing this whole time? Yugi is trapped in a loop of rooms with doors, and the doors are marked with levels. Yugi has to play a card with a higher level than the door has to pass through it. While he's doing this, Yugi can hear Teia calling for help all the while.
Oh.
He progresses through the rooms a bit. Who gives a shit?
I did say I kind of appreciate it a little bit. Like, I appreciate that what he's doing isn't like walking around, just reminding us what, the plot is, and just kind of like biding time and padding. I appreciate that he's doing like a maze, and there's like, while it isn't that kind of challenging, it's still a little kind of like hits the roots of what like the game master spirit of like Yu-Gi-Oh's beginnings and everything. So I kind of appreciate that. I think I'm just that starved for the Takahashi content.
Yeah.
That I'm kind of like just kind of picking and choosing where I can. At least it was something. I will say it's like bare minimum, I will admit, but like I appreciate it. And I appreciate that they didn't like jump too much to like Serenity and that thing and Kaiba and Mokuba, Joey, back to Noah, back to Kaiba, back to Yugi. Now we're back to the main stuff with Teiya. Like, it was Teiya and Yugi. Maybe a little of the others, but like Teiya and Yugi.
Yes, this was much more focused than the last episodes were.
Let's continue on.
Episode 103 opens with the Kaiba brothers walking along a path up to a log cabin to take a rest, but after they open the door, it turns into their house in the real world. They see their younger selves on the day they first arrived at Gozaburo's mansion. We see a scene of Gozaburo having dinner with Kaiba and Mokuba, where Kaiba says his dream is to make Kaiba Land so that poor kids have a place they can enjoy their lives and not, suffer under life.
Nice, right?
Gozaburo responds to two orphans, telling him they want other kids like them to enjoy life by taking away all of Kaiba's games until he, quote, masters the ways of a king, end quote. Whatever that fucking means. Kaiba's like 8.
He was really kind of talking more about like he would just like put him to studies, school, lessons, a lot of private tutors, a lot of schoolwork. Like, he took all the toys away because it was getting in the way of his studies and everything. Nothing too much about like just taking away like just for taking away the enjoyment, because that's what makes someone better. Still kind of sucks though.
Yeah, Gozaburo sucks. Kaiba has all of his games taken away by his tutor, And while this goes on, Mokuba sneaks his own duel monster cards into a book, which he passes on, saying it's one of Kaiba's studying books he forgot. And he kind of just cuts out the pages of it to put the cards in, like that bit where they have like a cutout for a flask in a Bible or something.
Mm-hmm, yeah, like a key or whatever.
Amongst the card is also a hand-drawn blue eyes Mokuba had made, and Kaiba promises to get a real one someday.
Hey, maybe I'll get 3.
Maybe even 4.
And then rip one, just because fuck you.
The flashback is ended by Noah appearing, saying he wants to remind Kaiba of how Kaiba drove Gozaburo to his death, which Kaiba responds by saying, "What?"
You killed Gozaburo because you wanted a blue eyes white dragon. He's like, that sounds about right.
We cut to Yugi in the door puzzle. He figures out how to progress it further, and he does the thing.
He did it.
Back in the duel, Taya is still cold, and Otaki is still a penguin.
You think?
Meh.
Meh.
Taya does not draw for her turn due to offerings of the doomed. She sets a monster in defense mode and passes. Otaki attacks with the flying penguin, destroys the set monster, but Taya gets to draw because the destroyed monster was Skellingle. Taya then draws Mahavilo and has a flashback, again, of being in school, where Taya and Yugi are sitting there at their desks, and Taya's trying to figure out a card that is like Yugi from among his collection. He says that he would like to say Dark Magician, but really that's more like his other self, and if it were him, he would be like Mahavilo. Does not really elaborate on why.
Yeah, I forget what they said in the dub, because I think he does kind of go into it a little bit, but it's not really doesn't really make much sense.
Yeah.
With what the card's effect is.
Maybe nothing ever does.
Not in the filler.
Taya summons the Mahavilo and equips it with magic formula, which makes it stronger. Mahavilo also has its own effect, which gives it even more power when it's equipped, so now it's super stronger. She attacks the flying penguin and destroys it. Yugi does some more door puzzle and questions if when he hears Taya calling out for him, if she's calling for him or Yami. He does escape the maze, but he finds himself separated from Taya by a wall of ice, so she does not know he's there, and he's just gonna kind of freak out in the corner while watching this duel.
That's an interesting tidbit, actually, with the whole like calling for him or Yami, because that they don't touch that in the dub, but that really kind of aligns better with how Yugi would be as like a character.
Yeah,
kind of nice.
Yeah, I didn't hate that bit. That was neat.
I would like to give you a bit that you might hate.
When?
So, in the dub, when Crump gets his feet like iced, he says, "I'm not bothered by it because of my penguin's thermo-insulated flipper feet."
You just enjoyed hearing thermo-insulated flipper feet, didn't you?
Oh my god! It was like, what kind of sentence is that?
My thermo-insulated flipper feet.
It was exactly like that. That was like probably exactly the voice. I don't know. It was amazing.
Flipper feet.
Thermo-insulated flipper feet can go keep me from being cold.
Everyone knows that's what penguins sound like.
Yes, that's exactly what penguins sound like. I do appreciate Taya Dark Magician Girl support. Like I like their little team up. I think that's a fun little
oh yeah, I didn't write any notes about it, but Dark Magician Girl is like psychically communicating with Taya here and there throughout this.
Yeah, kind of helping her.
It's just like little bits of support for her, and most important, like you were about to say, helping Taya draw cards when she's too cold.
That, or like kind of giving her little advice, being like, "Oh no, like you do have something in this, like look," or like kind of look again, or kind of helping with her weak spots as a duelist because she is a beginner.
Otaki summons Bolt Penguin, which is just a little penguin with electric whips for hands, in defense mode and sets a card. I also now want to register that. Well, I say now, this was when I was making my notes I registered it. If on the previous turn, Taya had moved her Deckmaster forward and also attacked with that, she would have been able to win right there.
Oh. I didn't catch that, but it also, she's a beginner duelist, so I probably wouldn't be surprised if she didn't think about that.
She's beaten Joey hundreds of times.
Yeah, but that's not Joey. It's just Joey. You know what I mean? It's like Duke fighting Joey.
Taya Gardner, the Great Destroyer, never lost a duel. Spoilers. Taya attacks the Bolt Penguin and destroys it, which lets Otaki activate his Revenge Sacrifice, which destroys Mahavilo and lets him special summon Defender Iceberg from his hand with a fat stack of defense points.
Oh my.
On Otaki's turn, he sets a card and summons Penguin Torpedo, which is as adorable as it sounds, and he attacks with it, but Penguin Torpedo's own effect makes itself blow up when it does direct damage. Taya's turn, and Dark Magician Girl actually summons herself, and she passes turn, just to have a monster on board. Otaki plays Ocean of Regeneration, which brings back the Penguin Torpedo, and Penguin Torpedo has its own effect that lets itself attack directly, which kind of non-bows with having an empty board, but he attacks directly with it again, and Yugi is watching from the sidelines, bereft, thinking Taya is going to lose. Way to show blind support for your friends the way they do for you, Yugi.
Yeah, dickhead.
Dark Magician Girl then uses her Deckmaster ability, which lets her draw a card for each monster in Taya's graveyard. Taya, from among these cards, plays Sage's Stone, which summons a Dark Magician for 1 turn from the Aether, which actually pulls it from Yugi's deck. Both magicians attack Otaki's monsters, which destroys the Defender Iceberg, and does enough damage to win. The ice around Taya disappears, and she briefly passes out, waking up to find Yugi is now with her. Noah is watching from his gamer chair and says the match did not end how he expected. Episode ends.
Before Dark Magician Girl reveals her Deckmaster ability of like the cards in the graveyard helping you draw cards, did you clock what cards Taya had in hand?
I know she had Graceful Charity. I also know earlier in the duel she had Pot of Greed and didn't play it.
She had draw. I mean, I'm sure they didn't. They were all superimposed later, but you put draw support cards there and said I have nothing to use.
Yeah.
So that bothered me a little bit.
Yesh.
I also hated the win. I hated how she won. What a bullshit way. I have a magic card that allows me to get a Dark Magician anywhere nearby. What does that mean? What does that mean? I understand the Sage of Stone is like, that's the thing, like get it from the deck or hand or whatever and special summon Dark Magician, but like, what? Are you kidding me? You couldn't think of anything else to do? Like, she couldn't special summon any monster. It couldn't be like a magic card that buffs Dark Magician Girl and gives her the win or something? You couldn't have picked your own Dark Magician in the thing? It had to be Yugi's?
Otaki did make some comments earlier about how if Dark Magician Girl is your deck master, then she'd be most powerful if you have Dark Magician in your deck, which
I didn't say
Taya
that.
came as like, oh, you didn't even put Dark Magician in your deck. What a fucking idiot.
So, okay, well, I guess that makes sense that they commented on it, but like, I still think you should have, I think you could have made Taya win in any way. That's the thing, is like, it's not like you're tied down to anything. You're making the story up. You have writers making this like these stories up. It's fan fiction. We've kind of just agreed on that. Why is Taya finding like the most bullshit way to win when she was already like doing a really decent job?
Because, Andy, she's a girl. Girls aren't good at Yu-Gi-Oh.
Oh,
That is sarcasm, by the way.
I was gonna say what about Mai, but
Go ahead. Finish the thought. Look me in the webcam eyes.
it's okay. I already have another dig about it later.
Oh, no.
So I'll look in the webcam after that one.
Also, because I'm just seeing that part where you did your notes, in the subtitles, Noah is now being consistently spelled N-O-A.
For you. Oh, for like on you in your subtitles.
Yes.
Is it Noah? Hang on. Is it always been Noah, or is it Noah Virtual World Art? No, they spell it N-O-A-H.
On the Yu-Gi-Oh! Wikipedia, which is a fandom wiki, so I don't know how accurate it is. It does say Noah Kaiba, N-O-A-H, and then in parentheses, Kaiba Noah, N-O-A.
What the hell? Help. I need somebody. Help. Not just anybody. I need someone. Kaiba!
I want to dance with somebody. I want to feel the heat with somebody.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Don't you want to dance?
But to kind of sum up how these, to go back and sum up how these episodes were, I actually enjoyed these episodes better than I enjoyed the first few that we were covering, and I actually really did enjoy watching Taya duel. I'm glad it wasn't like the most, like, it could have been painful, it could have been bad, and she actually did a good job. It felt like it felt like she did it for a while.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It was fun to see Taya not just be the friendship side character.
It's the most she's done in a season and a half, and I'm so appreciative of it.
Yeah, and I know the core friend group is 4 people, but Taya is like the third favorite, with obviously it's like Yugi and Joey are 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
And Tristan in the far 4th, but Taya's fun.
Tristan might as well not count, but like he has to count because I don't want Taya to be last. because she doesn't deserve last. I think, like, with Taya as a character, I think she was great a lot in the beginning. I think she did a lot better at being an emotional support role. And I think it seemed like it was hard to know what to do with her when you put her alone, because she was alone for most of Battle City, the preliminaries. So, like, especially in the anime, they did not know how to really handle her. They kind of are able to it's able to kind of, like, you don't have to really, like, show much focus with her in the manga, so it kind of works, but, like, it's really highlighted you didn't know what to do with her. So seeing you having more of a freedom to do something with her in this, and, you know, really capitalizing on for the most part, I will give it its flowers. They did a pretty decent job with it. It looked like you froze, but I'd see your fan moving in the background. So thankfully, I'm like, no, you're just standing there, well, sitting there.
Yeah. Speaking of my ceiling fan, I think it's been almost a year since the last time I stretched at the wrong time and Falcon punched it.
Oh god, almost.
That's always a jarring experience for my wrist.
Just so you guys know, Phoenix has a hook hand because of that.
Yar.
Yar. Am I telling the truth? Am I lying? You'll never know. Anyway, I'm going to cover the Joey duels, so I'm going to start with episode 104, which starts as such. We open with Noah pondering his decision to team up with the Big Five as two of them have just been defeated. Noah feels he can get the job done himself, so he decides to jump into action when he's interrupted by another member of the Big Five who the dub names Johnson. Who is it in the... It's Uta... What? We've said it like a billion times. What is it again?
Uka.
Well, I put the normal name Big Five member. I'm sure Uka is a normal name in Japan. Offers his apologies on behalf of the Big Five, but Noah doesn't want to hear it and is thinking of breaking the ties with the Big Five. Johnson tries to talk Noah out of disposing of them and tries to convince him that they have reanalyzed their dueling strategy and they will guarantee success this time. Noah relaxes and allows them to proceed, with Johnson giving his thanks. Noah looks past his cronies' failures and moves on to what seems to be his ultimate goal in Seto Kaiba and Mokuba Kaiba, who we see trying to make contact with the Kaiba Corps crew to no avail as they venture through the cyber world. We cut to our done with this bullshit lovable bro Joey Wheeler running around the castle last time we saw him, trying to get this shit over with like the rest of us. He's so done with this world, in fact, he decides to kick a wall in frustration to it absolutely crumbling down in front of him to find a door. Joey then says, maybe I should knock, nah, and then proceeds to kick the door down. Oh my god. Besides, like, the Mai versus Jean-Claude dumbfuck thing, like, where how Joey acted in that, filler Joey might actually be sick as fuck. I was, like, kind of thinking about it. I don't know much Joey filler that I don't like, or that doesn't make much sense. Because at least even, like, with the Duke Joey filler, you could say, like, Joey did have a big head in that and wasn't fighting for anything. And I think that's the reason they give him the sub. So that's why he lost, is he wasn't, like, fighting for anything, or, like, he was fighting for selfish reasons. So even that, like, kind of makes sense. So I don't know. I think I'm just, like, I'm here for filler Joey. I like it.
I also think the filler is kind of a chance for them to just go apeshit with some of the characters, as I'm remembering something that happens soon with Kaiba. Not in these episodes, but soon. And it's like, wow, this is really hardcore out of nowhere.
Ooh, I don't even know what you're talking about, so I'm excited to get this unveiled to myself. Joey thinks he found the blimp and starts kind of looking around and sees the door to Mai's room is open, so he goes to check it out. He finds Mai in the bed like he left her, and then we get a quick... I'm trying to look Phoenix in the eyes when I say this. We get a quick flashback to the painful times.
Right.
When suddenly Mai wakes up, and then suddenly she starts talking like Johnson, then egads, it is Johnson. Who would have thunk? Johnson introduces himself basically as the head of the legal team at Kaiba Corp and tries to give Joey his card, to which Joey bats away because he is done with this bullshit just like all of us.
Also, Joey's like 16.
Yeah, I don't think he needs it. Johnson invites Joey to the trial of the century, which basically means he wants to duel him for his body. Joey accepts the challenge when Johnson starts trying to pull some legal talk, which makes Joey, who is in no mood for the bullshit, like I've said before, very angry. He is wondering why they aren't dueling yet when Johnson relates dueling to being in a courtroom and says like stuff like, oh, I've never lost. Did you know I've never lost anything in a courtroom? Like I've never lost a courtroom. And, the whole room starts turning into a courtroom. Johnson sits at the judge's bench while Joey stands at a podium, as the defendant, quote unquote, before the court. Johnson then turns into Judge Man, who is his deckmaster. Joey then has the whole wall of cards presented to him, so he builds his dueling deck. Johnson is confident in his ability to win, as he has studied Joey's duels extensively and is confident he knows what deck he will build. Joey then picks Flame Swordsman as his deckmaster, who promises to serve him well. Joey is stoked that he talks, and seems to be a little happier that he can finally get this show on the road. The duel begins and Johnson takes the first move. Johnson plays Hysteric Angel in attack mode. Joey calls the monster annoying, which I only bring up because I'm here for the shit-talking Joey's bringing.
Yeah, he also calls it annoying in the sub, which, the fuck did the fairy do to you?
I know, he's like, that angel.
I don't like that monster. It's pissing me off.
He's like, it looks annoying. Like you, Johnson. And I'm like, damn. Okay. Shit. Joey draws into Gearfried the Iron Knight, and Flame Swordsman informs Joey that if that monster is summoned, his deckmaster ability will increase his strength. Joey does just that, so Gearfried gets a boost from Flame Swordsman, but in turn, Flame Swordsman attack goes down. Gearfried goes in and destroys Johnson's Hysteric Angel. Johnson's impressed with Joey's ability to understand how to utilize the duel master, or the duel master, the deck master's ability, but this trial is far from over, he says. Yeah, it's just a lot of those kinds of one-liners between Crump doing whatever he was doing and Johnson just talking like a fucking cartoon lawyer.
I liked Crump's bit more about being a penguin.
I see, but he leans into the penguin stuff more where in yours, where he leans into the businessman, but penguin also stuff in mine. So it's like a little more corny, I feel. Johnson plays a face-down defense monster and ends his turn. Joey starts his turn and loves his deckmaster ability so much, he uses it on Little Wing Guard to strengthen and have it destroy the monster. It was Skelengle, which allows Skellingle,
the same monster that Taya played,
which allowed Johnson to draw one card. Joey then goes in for the direct attack with Gearfried the Iron Knight, which sends Johnson's life points down to 1,200. Joey starts getting a little cocky and is unaware Johnson is playing right into Johnson's hands, and it seems to be ready to turn the tables. Johnson summons Mystical Elf in defense mode and one face-down card to Joey's visible lack of concern, and Johnson is just loving it. Joey is literally not paying attention anymore. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, they give him a differently animated whistling face.
He's like, it's like, whatever. We cut to the icy tundra that we left Yugi and Taya in. Yugi wants hot Chucky, and Taya is cold, so Yugi gives her his jacket like the gentleman he is. He literally says, I want hot chocolate. Good on him. I want some hot Chucky too. Taya notices that Yugi looks concerned and asks if he's worried about the others. Yugi says he's especially worried about Serenity and Tristan, who aren't well versed in dueling. I don't think we need any reason to worry about what happens to Tristan, though. I think he'll be fine.
Nope.
Nothing will happen to him. For sure.
No one mentions Duke.
Because Duke knows how to duel.
Yeah, this is also a general statement on Yu-Gi-Oh!
It's kind of true. Taya says if she can do it, so can they, when we cut to a few pretty bad gags of the love triangle where Tristan and Duke are fighting. It's pretty bad.
In the sub, it was just Tristan was sneezing because they were talking about him.
Well, yeah, they did that.
And then Serenity was doing the same. And as previously stated, no one talks about Duke, so he didn't.
He just started fighting with Tristan.
Yeah.
That is the bit. Is they sneeze because they were talking about whoever, and that's it's a common bit in anime. You all know the bits if you like anime. Either way, after the fighting bit, they cut back to Yugi and Taya, who both agree they'll be fine. Joke over. We get back to the Kaiba brothers, who are walking when another door appears because that's all they seem to be doing. When they go through it, they're back in a virtual simulation of Kaiba's office. Kaiba says such when a familiar voice suddenly shouts, "This is my office!" To the brothers' shock. A chair turns to reveal Gozaburo Kaiba, and we see he is actually talking to a young Seta Kaiba who wants to talk to Gozaburo about an invention he has. Gozaburo shuts down the young boy's idea, but Seto finally stands up to his adopted father and tells him off. Gozaburo doesn't want to hear it, though, as he prioritizes making weapons for combat over making children's toys, because it's a virtual simulation thing. Gozaburo says you must give up on these dreams if you want to run the company. The business of fighting battles and rising to ultimate power is what he believes in, and Seto believes he's insane for thinking that way. as he gets dragged off by Gozubaro's security. The President Seto Kaiba then informs the audience that Gozubaro would then take his invention and pass it off as his own idea as they are sent to another forest area. Kaiba believes it is the same invention he created and his father stole that helped create the place that they are trapped in. Well, and so he thinks like Noah is working alongside someone or like made it better with or like improved on it or something. Kaiba reminds himself that he needs to be alert with these memory simulations as they are not real, but admits they have been messing with him. Kaiba calls out to Noah because he just does that a lot, and he says he'll stop and he wants to face him right now. He's like, "Face me, you fucking coward! Da, 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 da. I have 3 blue eyes. What do you got? You got no blue eyes, bitch." We come down to Joey, who is taking his turn. Joey is thinking about his next move and plays Rocket Warrior. Joey goes in for the attack, but Johnson uses his Deckmaster ability and pays 1,000 life points to have Joey clear the courtroom of his monsters, and Joey loses 500 life points for each monster, which is a total of 1,500. So he's now at 2,500 life points. Joey tries to make his next move and sets Bottomless Trap Hole, thinking he has it in the bag.
Johnson calls his ability Life Sentence in the sub.
Interesting. It's called Clear the Courtroom, which, I mean, both make sense in a way.
Yeah.
One just seems a little more like, well, life sentence would not be death. It would be you're in jail for life.
Which is probably worse than death.
I mean,
depending on your age.
But they wouldn't hide that. They wouldn't censor that in a kid show.
Yeah, I think Clear the Courtroom's a better name for it.
Yeah, kind of makes more sense. Either way. Wow, rare dub win. Yugi and Taz suddenly see a door that brings them to the courtroom Joey is dueling in. Joey is excited to see them as he believes he is about to get his own W. Johnson plays Curtain of the Dark Ones and reveals his set polymerization to fuse his 2 monsters to make Kaiman Wizard. It only has 1,300 attacks, so it cannot set off Joey's trap, which needs a minimum of 1,500 attack to set off. Johnson plays Sinister Judgment to have his fusion monster attack on the turn summon and take a chunk out of Joey's life points, bringing him down to 1,200. Apparently, every time Johnson gets 800 life points whenever he attacks Joey's life points with Kaiman Wizard. I think because of the card.
It's because of the Sinister Judgment.
Yeah, that card. Yeah, that's exactly it. Joey realizes he's been led into this dueling trap and wonders how he will get out of it as the episode ends. A lot of jumping around, but like wasn't too bad. I'm very much a fan of Joey in this. So I don't know. I guess we'll see. Do you have anything to add before I move on?
Nah. It's the episode.
That is the episode. It sure is. All right, moving on. We are going on to episode 105. We come back to the trial of the century as Joey makes his next move. He decides to play Panther Warrior attack mode with 1 card face down and passes. Johnson plays Leading Question, which boosts Kaiman Wizard stronger than Panther Warrior. And then Joey reveals Skull Dice, to which he gets a 6, but suddenly turns into a 1.
What?
Panther Warrior is destroyed, and it seems Johnson can mess with luck decisions in his court. He got another 800 life point boost. Joey is perplexed on how he can make a move with a strong enough monster as all he has is Swordsman of Landstar. Johnson mocks Joey, asking if he used up all his strong monsters in the first 5 minutes, which visibly upsets Joey. He's like, "Hey, wait, no, I still got more." But he's like, "Shit, I did use all my strong monsters. I'm fucked."
Ah, shit, Yug.
Shit, Yug. I don't got any more monsters. Can I borrow your Dark Magician?
You let Taya use it.
Yeah, Yug, let me use it. Joey draws into Graceful Dice and tries the Swordsman of Landstar combo with the dice card again, but it gets fucked again by Johnson, so who cares? Joey is shook by this, but the punishments are not over as Johnson uses his Deckmaster ability to clear the court of Joey's monster and knock his life points down even further. Joey is stuck on what to do and plays the last 2 cards in his hand face down and passes. Johnson plays Pot of Greed, which allows him to draw 2 cards, because we all need to know what Pot of Greed does. Joey reveals the trap card Gamble, which only can trigger if Joey has no cards in his hand and Johnson has 6. Joey flips a coin and calls heads or tails, and if he gets it right, he can draw 5 new cards, but if he loses, he has to skip his next turn, which might cost him the duel. Johnson is confident in his victory as Joey makes the flip. We are back with the Kaira brothers, who are at the beach now and are doing what they were doing before. Then we cut to Noah, who's doing what we've seen him do before for like 4 episodes now, so now we cut back to the main shit with Joey making his coin flip. He calls heads but gets tails because, Johnson just loves fucking with the guy. Johnson is actually impressed that Joey still has not picked up on the trend. Joey gets mad but reminds Johnson it's still his turn, so he reveals the scapegoat magic card, so he gets 4 scapegoat tokens and ends his turn. Johnson plays Reinforcement of the Army magic card, which allows him to add 1 warrior to his hand, and then uses That monster and another monster as fusion material to summon Dragonus the Wicked Knight with 1200 attack, but it gets boosted with the permanent magic card on the field and has all those monsters destroy all the scapegoats because he gets 2 turns to attack thanks to Joey's gamble. Johnson tells Joey to give up, but Joey doesn't know the meaning of the words. Taya tries to give a pep talk, but Joey does admit he is running low on options though. Yugi seems to be catching on to Johnson's game, and Jami confirms the suspicion in Yugi's head. Yugi then gets ready to step in to help Joey when Noah suddenly appears out of nowhere, to everyone's surprise. Noah stops the duel to Johnson's shock as he's about to win, but Noah says he doesn't deserve to win after what he's just pulled. Noah reveals that Johnson has been cheating Joey's luck cards to work out in his favor and fucking Joey over, using Noah's virtual reality to do so. Johnson tries to reason with Noah as he can't take being in this world. Noah pays no mind as he tells him that the understanding is that they were supposed to take on Kaiba and his gang under Noah's leadership. Cheating in this gang would prove that Noah is undeserving of what he wants, and he won't accept that.
Johnson tries to justify himself in the sub by saying, it's not like this is the Olympics or anything. We can do a little bit of cheating.
What? What an interesting way to kind of reason with him. Either way, Noah wants to be the president of Kaiba Corp, and he wants to prove it to Gozaburo Kaiba. Kaiba, who has been seeing this part of the duel unfold on a small part of the TV that has appeared, is wondering what Noah means by all this. Joey says he agrees to continue dueling if Johnson agrees to play fair and square. If he does win, it leaves Noah's honor intact. So he's like, okay. Noah does agree and reminds him that the duel stakes still stand. And if we remember where Joey is, he's kind of fucked right now.
A little bit.
Johnson is shocked in Joey's decision as he is up Schitt's Creek, but Joey feels ready to win. Joey draws Pot of Greed, which lets him draw 2 cards. Seems like he got what he needed as he moves Flame Swordsman to the front and boosts him with Burning Soul Sword, but he has to sacrifice a monster to use it, and he appears to have none. Joey then reveals the Arduous Decision magic card, which allows Joey to draw 2 cards, and Johnson has to pick which one of the cards. If it's a monster, Joey can summon it, but if it is not, it goes to the graveyard and his turn is over, which would basically cost him the duel. Johnson ends up picking the monster after some fuck around with Joey. Joey then has it sacrificed to bring Flame Swordsman's attack up by 2300, making it 3300. He had the Goblin attack voice, so it was the boost of the attack. It destroys Johnson's monster, and Joey wins the duel. Johnson is shocked by the outcome as he's never lost in the courtroom. He even says he convinced a jury that a man who was afraid of water stole a boat. Joey cheers with the gang, but realizes everyone's in trouble, including his sister, and Joey takes off as the episode ends. So yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep. That's some episodes right there.
I like the Taya ones more. I love
Same.
Joey. I love Joey. I will say the best parts about these episodes were his no bullshit attitude. But I think the other duel was a little more fun, a little more focused. Everything else was like this one was a little more.
Yeah, we've seen Joey do cool duels before, but we don't get to see Taya do duels as much.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of the moves were very samesies from Joey, nothing too crazy, and just kind of whatever. It feels very standard. It's kind of like the Yugi duel. We know he's going to win.
Yeah.
Out of all the people that are going to win, we know he's going to win. I think probably when these were coming out, it's probably the stakes are a little higher. I mean, we know who gets what when because we've seen them before, but like probably when these are coming out, it probably was a little bit more like higher stakes when you think, okay, like not only are like the good guys, like the good duelists involved, but also the bad people, like bad duelists are involved, or people who are not like well versed in dueling, like Sarandi, Tristan, and Taya. So any one of them could, and I mean that is a worry they keep reminding us about. So that kind of makes it a little more fun, I guess. What?
They do a thing at the end of the episode where it's like next time on Yu-Gi-Oh! And they said the name of the episode. For this one, they're like next episode, Honda's manly sacrifice. Or like honorable sacrifice.
It's like the freaking One Piece bit. I won't spoil it, but you know what the one I'm talking about.
Well, there's also I think this Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode called Joey Dies.
Yeah, it's like they do not care about spoilers in their titles.
Yeah, neither do we. The show came out 20 years ago.
I mean, at this point it doesn't matter, but like imagine it then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, that kind of brings us into what we're going on next one. Before we'll I kind of think that sums up our thoughts. I mean, do you have any other thoughts?
Yeah. Taya duel was, pun intended, cooler than the Joey one.
Yeah.
I think that as far as like the weird motivations behind the people, I think Otaki was funnier than Judge Man Uka.
Yeah, who would have thought the man in a penguin suit would be funnier than the guy who was a lawyer?
We just got Batman villains in this episode.
I know, it's crazy. Could just put a Batgirl suit on Taya and it would have just been like, okay.
The movie that never came out?
Oh my god. Rip.
Yep.
Man, fuck the guy.
Right in the pepperoni.
God, the guy who does WB right now can fucking explode.
They can suck mine.
Suck your what?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
They never told me.
Either way, yeah, these episodes were fine. I mean, the first two are better than the other two, but like we're working at a low bar here.
Yeah, these are definitely a step up from last 2 weeks. Last episodes.
So hopefully it'll get a little better or worse. We're gonna go into next episode. We're going to be going into Robotic Knight 1v3, where it's one of the big five going off against Tristan, Duke, and Serenity. And Tristan's gonna be fine. I'm just gonna spoil that for you now. Nothing's bad's gonna happen to Tristan. I promise you.
I guarantee you nothing bad happens to Tristan.
Nothing bad happens to Tristan. I guarantee it. But to something, I don't know. Who knows? And then we're also going to cover Kaiba versus the last big five member. I think if math is correct.
Yeah.
Yes,
Lecter.
Lecter. Something like that.
Pretty sure his name is Lecter.
It's something like that. But he's Jinzo. He'll do Jinzo.
I think that's how I connected the name, because Jinzo has like the face mask, like Hannibal Lecter's mask.
Oh yeah, that's what I think we've kind of said that before. Yeah, that's gonna be it. We'll do those, and then we'll kind of keep chugging along with the Noah arc, so we can get back to the Merrick stuff, because Merrick is sitting on the blimp, not killing anyone, being a good boy, patiently waiting for all of us. I'm sure.
Good boy.
Well, either way, yeah, I think I've kind of said everything I wanted to say about these things, and I think you did too. So, do you want to move on to your socials?
Yeah, it's about that time. You can find me on the internet, twitch.tv/PhoenixFarce. Also, exporting all my streams to youtube.com/PhoenixFarce. Casual gameplay, mostly card games. Stop by for a good time, not a long time. Where can people find you doing your thing?
You have like hour-long episodes. There is a long time sometimes.
Yeah, a lot of people also stream for like 6 hours, but I have to go to work.
I don't say it's like unusual. It's definitely not a short time.
I think my longest is like a 4-hour.
Hey, keep shooting for your dreams there, bud. Anyway, you can find me on Instagram at apapasurgi, PAPPASRGI. I post my art post. I will post kind of like whatever the art post we post on our Kuribros will be posted there, and I will kind of talk a little bit more about my inspiration about it, things of that nature. So check that out. I also post other art stuff there, and I also post music stuff there with my bands and everything else. And also you can find us on Kuribros on Instagram, Kuribros, Twitter, it's the _Kuribros. You can find us on YouTube at the Kuribros. We post all the episodes there. We're doing them bi-weekly for the time being when this episode comes out, and it'll hopefully be caught up by the time you hear this. So check that out if you don't want to hear this on all the places you can hear our podcast. Yeah, that's really it. I guess I will sign off now. My name's Andy.
I'm Phoenix.
Giddy up and goodbye.
Thermo-insulated flipper feet.